Yo, what's good, folks and jokes? Welcome to the Weird Flex.
But okay podcast. Hey guys, welcome to the Weebs, workouts and comedy advice podcast where we answer your questions. If you would like to submit a question, please email us at weirdflex.gmail.com. The music that you've heard in every episode so far has been from What's My Name on Instagram and Soundcloud, and we did it! First take! Yeah! Hope I didn't forget anything. Heck.
All I did was just quote Oz from Double Toasted, and I was able to get through it. So yeah, that was easy.
Well, Jordan, how has your week been?
Yeah, it's been all right. Yeah,
I feel that.
Yeah, it's been like decent. A lot of emotion stuff happening that I coming through.
Sure.
I saw How to Train Your Dragon 3, which was
Yes.
it was all right, but I like that. I thought the ending was very powerful. Ending made me cry a lot.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard it's very, very tearful.
Yeah, the ending got me back because I can't do those certain tropes. And then there was what was it? I got my video done. That was fun. I'm getting a new green screen, and then like I just I have to prep for taxes, which is in March. So like that's just I think that's a bit of like anxiousness for me because like last year, like I guess I knew I had to pay a lot because I'm self-employed. Like I was a bit like shook by, oh, this is the amount you gotta pay when you're self-employed. I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
So like this year I'm just like I've been like, oh, well, I have all this saved in my thing like this because like one of my biggest fears is just like that trope in shows when you get like a bunch of money. And then, you lose it by the end of the episode. Like, I fucking hate that trope. And it's just one of those things because it's just, like, a part of me is like, oh, well, I don't want that to happen to me if I ever come into Grace. And I'm not trying to make it seem like, oh, I'm a baller or some shit like that. But that'd be a different story, whatever, if that was the case.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's just like, oh, yeah, I'm making good money. But how much do I have to pay back and stuff like this? So I just, been psyching myself out, like, what if they take all? What if I'm all? It's just like just been psyching myself out. Like, so
welcome to adulting.
Adulting.
Everyone listening.
Everyone when you don't have to pay taxes, you're good. If I had superpowers, I wouldn't pay taxes. I'd just
that
be like,
would be
fuck
the ultimate quirk.
I'd be like, no. I'd be like, they'd come up to me and I'd be like, no, I'm God. And you're not.
Like you have the power to just be like, these are not the monies you're looking for.
What, a freaking Jedi ability?
Yes,
like,
the Jedi or the Jedi quirk of no paying taxes.
The IRS would come to me and be like, Mr. Genocide, because that'd be my superhero name, supervillain, whatever name I would choose to be. And they'd be like, you haven't paid any of the tax? Yeah, I know. Yeah, whatever. I'm not doing it. But then, I know along the line...
Excuse me, Mr. FBI, but I got my anti-IRS vaccination, so I am immune to taxes.
I will bite your head off if you come near this. But then, they would send, a kid in or something like that, and they'd be like, please, Mr. Genocide, can you pay your taxes? And then I'd feel like heart. And then I'd be like, fuck, you got me. And then I'd pay it. And then I'd be like, whatever. Like, that's the only way to get me is, to appeal to my empathy card of
So for anybody out there looking for the next greatest supervillain, here's your free idea.
Yeah, no, anti-villain. I prefer anti-villain.
Anti-tax. Instead of an anti-vaxxer, it's an anti-taxer. Is that too political?
Yes, it's too political.
Oh my god, that went everywhere.
How was your week at the God Con?
I have no regrets. But yeah, guys, welcome to our podcast where we do stuff. And my week
at the God Con.
At a con. My weekend was at Comic-Con, aka GodCon, yes, Super Kami Guru Con, as the Weebs call it. Comic-Con, it was amazing. We were in Birmingham, Alabama, and we had some awesome guests this weekend. We had ProZDU, we had Chuck Huber, we had Caitlin Glass, we had the Interluniums. And we had
say voices they do so people can recognize them.
Oh gosh, Caitlin
I know
Glass
that person.
Is she's Winry from Fullmetal Alchemist. Sungwon Cho or ProZD is internet.
You can just say
person.
ProZD. Everyone knows ProZD.
Yeah. Everybody knows Caitlin Glass. And Chuck Huber, he's Android 17 in Dragon Ball, and he's a bunch of other stuff too. He also does Now Voice This. He hosts that and stuff. And we had who else did we have?
Rental Floss.
We did. We had Brittle Floss. He rented a concert, and that was really cool. And the Interluniums are a pop idol group made up of various people. Lily Pichu is one of the members. That
I know her. She's that little Asian girl with the flute thing.
Yeah. She got popularized by some cool internet stuff, and now she's in an idol group, and that's pretty neat. And
wait, like a legit idol group?
They created their own idol group. So I would say it's legitimate. They did a performance for us, which was nice. And
so like if they go to Japan, like everyone's gonna be like, oh, it's that idol group.
Oh, I'm not sure of the inner workings of their business model and whatnot, but they market themselves as an idol group, and I think.
I mean, are they cool. Like okay? Well, okay. This is a better way to put it. Are they like mainstream, where like everyone recognizes it, or are they like more undercover but then growing?
I think it's new. I think they're growing because I believe that Comic-Con was their first live performance, which is nice. But they do have songs out, which are pretty good. And yeah, I haven't personally listened to a lot of them, but I did see their concert because I was filming it at the con, and it was pretty good. I had a good time, and I hope that they get to do a lot more together.
Awesome.
And yeah, it was a great con. We had a lot of fun stuff happen. I was on media team, so I was running around getting video. I was seeing people and stuff. It was nice to have Brent in town. We got dinner on Thursday, me, Zach, and Brent. And then on Saturday night, we just
Zach's
stayed up at the bar. Folks. Oh yeah, I think I've mentioned Zach a few times.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm saying, but like, because I was listening to this podcast the other day, and then they were saying how like there's certain times people bring up like names, and then like there's certain people who are new, and they're like, make your audience feel like welcome in the thing.
This is
and
true.
Stuff like, yeah, so it's just like, oh yeah, so this is the person. So if you say like, oh, I'm mentioning so and so here, it's just like that's for her boyfriend. For those of you who remember, and it's just like a quick little thing. Yes. It doesn't have to be like a full like they
Actually,
met
yeah,
here.
That's a good point.
This,
there
whatever.
Could be a new listener. I apologize, listeners. Yes, Zach is my amazing, wonderful boyfriend. That is super awesome and lit fam. And Brent is Brental Floss, and he's really awesome. We've been friends for a little bit. And me, him, and Zach got together for dinner on Thursday, just shot some shit, talked about theater stuff, etc. And it was just nice having him back in town. And on Saturday, we all went to the bar at the con, and we stayed up for hours just talking about random internet things. And it was a really wonderful weekend. And what made it wonderful was just the people that I got to see and catch up with, and the vibes. And I always feel the most at home at conventions because I feel like they're the place where all the things that I love are happening and all the people that I love are at. And it's like all the entertainment that I get to see. Like it's my kind of place. And Comic-Con does a really good job at doing that. And we actually we announced our official numbers at our closing ceremonies. We passed 8,000 attendees this year.
Oh, congrats!
It was awesome.
So was it 8,001?
No, I think it was like 8,400. So I don't know the exact there, but it was past.
It's over 8,000 manga
yes,
DBZ
over
people.
8,000. Yes,
that's the real way to say it.
We're hoping that next year will be even better. But yeah, that was my weekend, and it was really fun. And today, I am recovering from the con, and I slept in a little bit, and I was kind of like, whoa, what's happening for the first few hours of the day, because I was like so tired. But then I got a shower, ate a big burger, and I was like, okay, I'm ready, let's do it. And then I know you guys probably don't know this, but before me and Jordan record the podcast, we usually like talk for like 30 minutes just about life and stuff. And Jordan's one of my favorite people to talk to, and especially after like a weekend of like being high on convention love. I was definitely having like wait, cut what out?
Yeah, just say like just being high.
Oh yeah, just cut it like a whole weekend of just being high.
Yeah.
On convention life.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's funny.
Oh, but yeah, having that weekend of that, but then like the con blues that would inevitably have come today, which they did a little bit because I was kind of sad to see it go, and missing people and the energy that I got. But talking with Jordan again brings me back up, and like it's nice to have people that you can just go to any time of day where it's like, yeah, let's talk about life stuff or entertainment stuff or memes, and it's like, yeah, let's do that. And that's what this podcast is, but also it's just what Jordan is, because he's a really good friend. And yeah,
it's good to have friends to do that thing. That friends who will like you can talk to about anytime, like, oh hey, you cheering me up, haha, you're really like making me laugh and stuff like that. But then like you can also go like, hey, I need to talk to you, and it's like, oh, what's up? And they can change their tone instead of just like, oh yeah, you need to talk. Oh, you're so ugly when you cry. Oh, whatever, so like it's just certain things like it's good to have that friend who can like mix, like change the temper levels, because there's some friends who are just like, okay, listen, and listening's fine, but it's good. So I try to be like the Arnold friend, like he's my ideal, or like I try to have if I can pick 4 people. I try to be an amalgam of Iroh, Tino's mom, from the Weekenders people. Arnold from Hey Arnold and All Might, and I try to be like amalgam of all those of like, oh yeah, I can give you this stuff, but then we can talk here and here and here at various levels. It's like a science class in beakers, because we got more chemistry than a science class on this podcast.
You've said that so many times. I just want to make like a shirt.
Yeah, that'll be our first shirt. We got more chemistry than a science class, and it's like But
I want to start off today's episode with a quote that when I was at the con, I went to a lot of panels where there was a lot of knowledge that was being dropped. Like, voice actors are... Oh, actually, one other guest that we had, we had Estelle at our con. We had...
The Estelle?
The Estelle.
Like the one who said American Boy?
Take me on a trip, I want to
that
go
Estelle?
Somewhere. We had that Estelle at Comic Con.
Did she perform?
No, she was there to be Garnet, so she did panels where she answered questions.
Wait, she's Garnet?
Yeah.
Are you fucking... Wait, what?
Wait, Jordan,
what?
did you not know Estelle?
No,
Garnet?
I thought that was someone who sounded like Estelle. I didn't know she actually did.
Estelle.
What? But doesn't she have like mainstream stuff? Like, okay, all right, people. Like, there's this thing. Okay, all right, I'm sorry, but there's this thing where there are people who are mainstream famous and talented, like Michael Jackson, and then there are people who are talented in their own way, but they're not mainstream. Like, not everyone knows them. Like, Ninja Sex Party. Everyone like a lot of people know Ninja Sex Party. He's a great guy, but like if you say that to like a bunch of mainstream people, who? But you can go Michael Jackson. Everyone knows Michael Jackson because it's just
and
like
Estelle, baby.
Yeah, and Estelle, and it's just like I didn't know if someone that mainstream did that. Like I thought that was someone who sounded like Estelle, but wasn't.
No.
Like, wow.
Actually, she does go into like how she got into voice acting because she at her panel she essentially said. She dropped some really awesome truth bombs too, and what she said about voice acting was like, she enjoys like singing and doing all of that stuff, but she said that she wanted to be selfish and have her voice heard by. She has a lot of like young cousins and like she has like 9 brothers and sisters, I believe, and like she has a big family, and so they have like a lot of kids, and so she wanted her voice. She wanted a way to have her voice heard by her family, like and like all of the kids in her family whenever she couldn't see them, and so she wanted to get into cartoons. And when she got Garnet, she was like, whoa, like, and everybody was like, that's not selfish, and she's like, no, it was selfish because I wanted that for me, and like I know that there's people out there that voice acting is all they want to do, and like she used her platform to to be able to get to what she wanted to do. But there's not necessarily anything wrong with doing that. Like,
so wait, you're telling me she became a superstar singer just to do voice acting?
No. She didn't become a superstar singer to voice act. She did all that other stuff on her own because that's what she wanted to do. But she used what she had built upon to allow herself to do something different. Like, it's not like she always wanted to voice act. It was just something that, this would be interesting. And I think it would be a really cool way to talk to let my voice be heard by like all the kids that are in my life. And so she utilized the platform that she already had to go into something that she hadn't thought she would want to do before. So it's not like she built herself up to be a voice actor, because that was never her goal or intention. She wanted to be a singer and do all this stuff. But when an avenue opened itself, she was like, I think I want to try this. And because she was in the position she was in, she was able to do that.
This is like when I found out Amethyst was like Asian. I thought Amethyst was a black or a Latina girl.
Oh my god!
Time. And I was just like, what the heck? And then like Pearl, and like I'll give Steven Universe this. They have like a multicultural like voice actor thing.
Oh,
like,
very much so.
And I'm just like, most of these voices, I was like, I could have swore that was like a black girl or a Latina girl or something like that voicing it, because I remember for the longest time I thought Cree Summer voiced Amethyst, and then I was like, oh no, it's like, oh that's that other girl. I forget her name, but whatever. That's cool.
I believe.
No, not Peridot. The one who...
Oh, no, sorry, that's someone different.
Yeah, that's someone different. Who's also a good Asian person as well. Like, good for them, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, we had Estelle there, and she was freaking awesome. And that was really cool. I wish she would have done a performance. That'd be awesome. But she was actually one of the largest guests that we've ever had, because we were experimenting with getting, like, some mainstream guests and stuff. So that was really cool.
She got the Rock.
I mean, it's all about money, man. You can, like, somebody even asked, like, how were you able to get Estelle? And it's like, or like, if ever there's an indie game that has like a huge voice actor in it, it's like, how did you get them? You pay them their rate. They're for hire. They are entertainers that are trying to work like everybody else. So all you have to do is...
Dude, I gotta tell you something after you finish.
Oh, okay. But yeah, if you ever want to, like, if you're hosting a con, just treat people like what they're worth. Like, be like, hey, you are this person that works in this industry. We would love to have you here. Oh, no, there's a telephone ringing.
It's okay.
I hate house phones.
It's all good. That's what life is, all about ringing in various
It's true.
places.
It's all about the tiny interruptions that happen, but you don't let them control your day. But they can control my podcast because it makes me sad.
It's okay.
How dare you, phone? Okay. The phone is suffering. But yeah, there was, I don't even remember what I was saying. What were you going to say?
Well, you know how you said, like, you pay their rate? Have you heard of this site called Cameo?
I have not.
Okay, so this site, my friend Paleo Steno showed me it. It's a site where you go to it, and it's a bunch of celebrities, voice actors, and all this stuff. And what you can do is you pay their rate, and they'll cameo in anything you want to do. Kellen's on it. And, like, you can, like, but they have, like, people like Wesley Snipes, Blade, and they also have people like, freaking Cyborg's voice actor and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then you pay their rate, and it's like, oh, this person will record a video for you, and this is their rate, like $30 per video or $20 per video. But if it's like a big celebrity, because there are big celebrities on there, it's like $500 per video or something like that. And then I was just like, oh my god, I just want to, I could like have an evil plan of just like all these people.
That's interesting because like there's some people that like they're not allowed contractually to use that voice for anything else. Like,
well, no, it's not just a voice, it's just them as a person. Like, it's literally just...
Yes, but like one example I can think of is Xander Mobus, who's the Smash announcer. He's not allowed to like make recordings of himself saying like Waluigi or whatever as like the Smash announcer, because the Smash announcer voice is copyrighted and owned by Nintendo. And so if he makes a video of him doing like that with what his contract is, he could get in trouble.
Oh yeah, he would get in big trouble. Like, you know, what's that one
like,
guy who voices Wesker like from Resident Evil? Like,
I'm not sure.
I forget.
Oh wait, DC Douglas?
Yeah, DC Douglas. Like, he can't do anything else with the Wesker voice because it's owned by those people and stuff like that. So like that's is crazy. But yeah, I just think that's like really really cool. Like, because you know there's certain, because I know like you said, those voices are owned and you can't like, you know, just go out and do it. But like I guess wait, so could you
everyone's
get in
contracts are different though, so like maybe, for example, you said Kellen is on that website, maybe for him his contract isn't like that and he's allowed to do that for profit, and that's wonderful.
Like,
you could probably do it. I've seen him post videos of him saying stuff in character voices before, so maybe his contract is different. But for some voice actors, if they don't want to say something for you, it's not because they're being mean or whatever. It's because literally they need to keep their job, and sometimes
my job
weird
pays
rules.
More. You know what? Money talks, baby. Come work for me now. Forget them. Work for me.
But blacklisted or steady income versus like a one-time payment.
Oh, really? Steady? Know. Well, what if I get like Elon Musk rich then? So like that's a steady income. I mean, I'm just going to be like, do this for me for the rest of my life. Yeah, that's not blacklisted. It is blacklisted because it's me. Yeah. There we go.
Well, I mean, if you got that in writing,
you're my
then
slave
they probably
now.
do that.
You have to do everything I tell you, or you are black.
This just went from 0 to 100 real quick. But actually, I think I do want to start getting to our questions. But there was one quote that I actually wanted to start with that I got from the con this weekend before we ranted about Estelle and voice acting and whatnot. But yeah, I was mentioning that like there was some con blues happening after Kami because I'm sad that it's over and stuff. But the podcast is something that like lifts me up, and I really love recording it because I get to like hang out with my friend, but it's also a scheduled part of my life, so I get to make time to like talk to my friend and do this thing with him. And it's all about, even if you're feeling like even if you're feeling down and stuff, like creating those routines can be so important. And Chuck Huber at his one of his panels this weekend dropped like a lot of truth bombs, and one thing that he said was that if there's something like in the morning that he's like feeling negative about, or like if he's feeling down and not like wanting to do work or do whatever, or if there's even a task that he's like, oh, I just don't want to do that right now, he makes that the first thing that he does because he doesn't want that negative emotion to control his day. He's going to tell his body that he is in control, and so he'll sometimes start with the last thing he wants to do, or if there's something he doesn't want to do, he'll have the discipline to do it because you are in control, not your emotions. Even if sometimes it feels like they are, because I've definitely been there. But I thought that was an interesting thing to think on. Because, like, there are definitely times when I'm just like, oh, man, I love recording the podcast with Jordan, but, like, oh, maybe I'll push it off till the next day because I'm just feeling sad right now. But then it's like, no, I want to do this thing with my friend, and I've said I'm going to do this thing, so I'm going to do it. And then we do it, and I always feel amazing while we're doing it because I get to talk with my friend Jordan. Yeah. And, yeah, there's just some thoughts, I guess, that inspired me this weekend. But, Jordan, why don't you bring us to our first question?
Okay, our first question comes from Keith Langley, and he asks, what are your top 5 favorite cartoons of all time? Animation-wise, none of that animu, because we already know our top 5 animu. So,
you
cartoons.
Right? Okay. Yeah, why don't you start us off? Because you've been doing a lot with that other cartoon podcast, so I'm sure you have this, like...
Oh, Toon Clash.
Yeah.
Toon Clash is fun. Go check it out, people. It's fun.
Go check it out.
My top 5 favorite animated series of all time. Number 1 is Spectacular Spider-Man. Greatest incarnation of Spider-Man ever. If you've not seen that show, go watch it. Like, all right, that's why another reason I love Spider-Verse so much is because, like, it's another quality Spider-Man animation, like, because Marvel animation has been severely lacking for years now, but Spectacular Spider-Man is just like the best. It's like great comedy. It's got great action. The style is unique. The voice acting is great. Josh Keaton was meant to be Spider-Man. There's so much about that show I love to death. And then my second favorite, I do love that show. See, I there's so many I love. Young Justice. Oh, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Airbender. Yeah. I love to death because it's just a phenomenal series. Absolutely incredible. Definitely love it. Young Justice DC show is just like, if you haven't seen it, definitely recommend it. It just came back this year. Funny enough, it was made by the same person who made Spectacular Spider-Man, and both of those shows got canceled before their time, and this show was able to come back and is killing it with its 3rd season. So I really hope Spectacular Spider-Man can come back somehow or another. But yeah, it's such a great show. Highly recommend checking it out. Hey Arnold. Hey Arnold's just like, you pick up so much life advice from that series. It's just so much like greatness that happens in that show that you gotta go like, oh wow, I really do appreciate hearing this. Before I get to my last one, I'll give an honorable mention to My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, because back in the day, that was the show that, like, it was weird when I first found that show, because I remember I used to be rabid hardcore brony, but I'm not anymore. I just, like, I like the show, it's good. But, like, I remember when I first watched the show, or, like, saw a clip of it, I was like, what is this? And then, like, the clip made me laugh, and I was like, that was cute, that was funny, let me watch this. All right, you know what? I'm going to watch, like, maybe one episode. You know what? Maybe let me watch, like, another. You know, let me watch the season. And I was just like, I have to rewatch the season. All of summer 2011, I rewatched every episode of that show. And I was like, amazing. Is there something wrong with me? Like, why am I addicted to the show?
It was and then I found good, right?
Yeah, and then I was like, there are other people addicted to this show. What the fuck? And I was like, oh, okay, I'm not crazy. I'm not the only one. Yeah. And so, like, all these other people. And then that's how I met Paleo and Saberspark. Yeah. And then the story goes. But, like, I love what my friend said. My friend had the greatest quote on that. So it's like, it may not be the best show, but it gave me a family. And I was just like, it's so true. It's so true. Because that's how all of us people who do our various things now just, like, started off. So I always got to give love to it. But then I would probably say I really did love the 2003 Star Wars Clone Wars series and Samurai Jack. So, yeah, I love those. Like, honestly, I could probably go, like, you know, I'm going to cheat and say top 10. I love Kim Possible, The Weekenders, Invader Zim. I love Invader Zim to death.
Definitely.
Teen Titans 2003.
Definitely.
Amazing show. Samurai Jack. The Powerpuff Girls. OG Powerpuff Girls. GOAT. Love that show so much. Highly recommend it. And that those are my favorite cartoons of all time. What about you, Missy?
Oh God, like narrowing it to a top 5 is also really hard. I'm gonna try, but if I have to do a top 10, I might.
Okay, go ahead. Just do a top 10 then if you want.
Yeah, we will see. I definitely think my top spot would be Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like, if we're not doing anime, because I like own the entire season or the entire series.
Yeah, I own the entire series on Blu-ray.
Yeah, I don't own Korra. Like Korra was good, but like the original definitely.
I mean, let's be honest, the original was better.
Yeah, for sure. I know what you're doing, and I support that. And I think my second spot would have to be what's it called? Heckle. What was it called?
Was it on Nick, like Cartoon Network or Disney?
No, I'm sad. I just had it in
Fox
my head,
Kids,
and now I am the angry. No,
well, tell me what channel it was on, and I can
I can't even remember. Like it just jumped from my mind, so I guess I'm gonna have
Kids
to
WB.
It jumped away. No.
Nickelodeon.
I am the angry now.
Cartoon Network.
Where did you go?
Disney
I can't
Channel.
Remember. It just left me.
Okay.
Because I watch a lot more anime, but okay. It was Avatar: The Last Airbender. What's another one? I definitely love Ed, Edd n Eddy. That was one that I definitely marathoned a lot growing up. Like, Teen Titans. That was the one I was thinking of.
I
like,
just said Teen Titans.
No, but like I said, it had jumped from my mind. So even if you had said it just for some reason was like, bitch, I'm leaving you because this is the moment you want to bring me up. And I was like,
I mean, that was the one time where I was like, well, I said like Teen Titans was one of my top 10 favorites. So I thought like you're saying, that's whatever.
No, yeah. So it was Avatar: The Last Airbender, Teen Titans. That was the one the 2003 one. Although the Teen Titans Go movie is definitely like one of my favorite movies of all time. Now
can't wait for the 2003 to come back because it's
definitely
like, the end of it.
If it does. Yeah.
Well, it is like I don't think they would show like an animation like that and be like, we're not coming back. I feel like they definitely are.
Yeah, I wanna have hope, but you can I guess never tell unless it's like officially announced.
No, Young Justice came back. Teen Titans is coming back. There you go.
Yeah, I want it to, yes. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Ed, Edd n Eddy was definitely one of my like original favorites. And then I'm trying to think. Kim Possible, definitely. I did like some rewatches of a little bit of that too, recently. And trying to think like what could be in top 5 material because I have others that I like Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends and stuff, but I don't know if that's top 5.
So no wonder you like talking to me because apparently people think I'm like Wilt.
But oh gosh, what was it? If I had like a list in front of me, I would be like, oh, that one. Okay, on Cartoon Network, what? Oh, Steven Universe, definitely top 5.
Oh, actually, shit. That makes me remember Starverses. Let me add that to mine too.
Oh yeah. Steven Universe. So I think it would be like Avatar: The Last Airbender, Teen Titans, Steven Universe, then Ed, Edd n Eddy, and then I think Kim Possible, and then like I think Foster's Home would definitely be at number 6 because like I was definitely obsessed with that one growing up. Powerpuff Girls would definitely be in there too, and trying to think. Some modern ones.
Are you going to be like one of those kids like, Danny Phantom was so awesome or something?
Oh, I love Danny Phantom too, yeah.
You did? Okay, I was joking.
No. Oh, and Fairly Odd Parents. Oh, and SpongeBob, obviously. But like
OG SpongeBob. Or do you still watch
SpongeBob,
the like, okay.
Definitely top 10. Like, I'd probably give it the number 8 spot. But I do have to give love to Danny Phantom and to the Fairly Odd Parents. Those were definitely...
Okay, what was... I'm curious because like I think I was only 13 when that came out, but I was like, okay, so what made Danny Phantom like just so like this is great? Because I noticed that from a lot of like people like, oh, the Danny Phantom's freaking awesome. So I'm curious, like what made it so stick out to you that this is great? Because I watched it too, but it wasn't anything like it's blowing my mind. So I'm curious like that thing. I'm just curious, not in talking down. I definitely.
Like, there could be a lot of nostalgia glasses that go into a lot of the cartoons that I grew up loving. And there was, like, a formula of it was telling a story that felt familiar to me, but also felt, like, a little weird and different. And, like, the characters, the way they interacted. And I loved the theme song. I loved that it was kind of a rap. And he's a phantom. Like, it would get you that hype feeling. And whenever I would be watching it, like... it just had that basic formula that worked for me. Like these fun characters going out trying to solve this stuff, but then when it would get emotional and there would be the crushes and the classic like Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide, but like with ghosts and like stuff like that. Like it was good. I loved it. I don't think I could sit down and write you a chart of everything perfect about it unless I rewatched it and was like, ooh, this and this and this. I loved what they did with like Sam and Danny. I liked Ember, You Will Remember. I liked the way they did the villains. I liked the way that the stories would progress and the way that they would show the development of the characters. Like when I found out that Sam was like rich, like that episode where they like go to her mansion. Of course, that's a trope that's been done a few times before, but that was the first time I had seen it done like that. And so I was like, oh wow, they like her for her, not because of like, you know, even though again that's an easy lesson nowadays, but like back in the day, that was like the first time seeing it like that. And it was like, I think a show that had a lot of first times for me in terms of like showing me ways that stories could go. And nowadays, maybe it wouldn't, or maybe it would hold up in comparison to other cartoons.
I mean, have you watched it recently?
No.
Okay,
I haven't watched it since I watched it on TV all those years ago, but it definitely has impacted me, and I still remember it. Well, like the Ember You Will Remember episode, like so many people remember her and remember that show.
Well, I have a question then,
like that.
When you watch something, because someone asked me this a while ago, like when you watch something, are you able to differentiate like, okay, I like this for like just nostalgia quality than looking at its overall quality? Like for instance, if I look at something like Avatar, like if I rewatch Avatar as an adult, I can go, no, this is a genuinely great show overall, like it's great for all ages, all this stuff like that, compared to if I watch something like Street Sharks, where the buff Street Sharks were fighting each other. It's like, I love that as a kid, but then like when I think of it, I'm just like, yeah, show. I mean, writing wise and dialogue wise, it wasn't like meant to be. Like,
I definitely think that I have. I like to believe that I have that ability with a lot of things, but I haven't really gone through and rewatched a lot of those really old shows in a while, so I don't. So I haven't had the opportunity to do that. But like for a lot of the anime that I like, for example, I definitely understand that there are parts of it that I'm like, I like this because I have a fond memory with it versus the objectivity of how.
Oh, like the dub. Like the Yu-Gi-Oh dub. Like the Yu-Gi-Oh dub is just like cheesy, fun. But like you wouldn't go like, oh God, it's a quality dub or something like that. You just go, no, I remember it.
But then again, sometimes like when it comes to the arguments of like whether a dub is good or not, there's some shows where I sometimes feel like I think it's really great, and other people will like shit on it. But when you get the context of the actors, like we think we were doing a good job, like, and you're not a professional actor, so how would you know if it was this or that? But you know, there can be conversations like that where sometimes yes, it's obvious, but sometimes it's like this was the product of its time. This was good for whatever, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's the nostalgia. So yeah, I guess in order to answer your question. I believe that most of the time, yes, I'm able to do that. But there are some times where I don't know if I have the authority to say whether or not something is quote unquote objectively good. Because sometimes when it comes to entertainment, subjectivity can play a larger piece in that. When it comes to like if it was telling a good moral story or if it was ahead of its time, there's things like that where I believe I could judge. But like sometimes with the quality of dubs, there's a lot of times where I'm just like, I think this sounds great because I understand
the voice acting. Because, like, let me cut in, like, for a second. Because I think, like, there are people who, like, talk shit about the My Hero Academia dub. And I'm like, it's not a bad dub. Like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. It's just like, I don't like the dub. Dubs are trash and all this stuff. It's just like, what are you talking about? They're all acting, like, pretty damn good. They're all doing a good job. You just don't like it for ABC. So, like, that's where it gets money. Because, like, that's a thing I notice a lot of is people... are very obstinate with their thoughts and beliefs to the point where they like let their mind overtake them. Because like I made a video on this a while back talking about like Japanese versus like English dubs, because I love both. But it's like I praise the Japanese and stuff like that, but it's just like, well, do you understand it? Well, no, but I know the Japanese. But it's just like you can't really tell if they're great actors. You don't understand the language.
Yeah, that's why just I've never really put myself super into the conversation when it's like, is this objectively good? Unless it's like, you know, like ghost stories, like something that's obviously they're having
fun with it.
Yeah. Because like, you know, yes, I am an actor, but sometimes who am I to say and judge this performance sometimes? And I'm trying to get better at being able to tell in that. But a lot of dubs that I've heard people say like, oh, that sucks. Like, I think sounds good, and I understand where they're coming from. But maybe somebody else would be like, no, it's bad. There is some subjectivity that can go into it. But I don't believe that I'm an authority figure to truly say this is terrible. I can say I don't think this and this part is bad, but like, yeah.
Right. No, because I know some people, like, and the most I hear from people who are, like, logical is just, like, I just don't like how they did this person's voice. And for that, I understand. Because, like, for instance, for me, I think the One Punch Man dub is pretty good overall. But I just did not like the performance of what Genos did. Like, the Genos performance was just like, Master Saitama, I need to do that. And it's just like, okay, dude, I know that's how you're acting to do it or something like that, but it didn't feel natural to me compared to, like, the original dub. Like, for instance, a big one for me is Monster Musume, because I love Monster Musume because of my snake babe Mia. I love her. I rattle that snake. But it's like, when I listened to the dub, and I heard Mia's English voice, it just did not fit the character, in my opinion, from listening and rewatching the Japanese version so much. And usually, most of the time, I can watch a dub and a sub back to back and fine. And, like, every other voice in the Monster Musume dub, I thought was like, oh yeah, that's great. That's very fitting for the character. But when it was like Mia's, it was just like, yeah, I'm just not buying this. I'm sorry. It's just, I'm sure you're a very lovely lady, but it's just not doing it. It's not being like the Mia. It doesn't make me go like this or something like that. It's just, it's whatever. But sorry, I got something stuck in my throat. But good. Yeah, it's so passionate to talk about my snake bay. I was just there are certain ways you look at it. Like, for instance, I make it very clear, I am dubby trash for the old school DBZ dub, but, like, that dub is so cheesy. Like, they have lines like, "Oh, nice move, but your shoelace came untied." Very funny. I'm not even wearing shoelaces.
When it comes to the writing for some of the stuff, the way that, like, they'll interpret it to make it clean for the kids and stuff, I can definitely tell when it's like, okay, what are you doing? But when it comes to the performance,
like
the actors
give,
like, when it comes to the performance that the actors are giving with the writing that they're given, sometimes it's like, you committed to what you made the correct choices for the script that you were given here. So, like, your performance is great. Maybe the writing for some of this, or the way that the directors
or the dialogue.
chose. Yeah. The writing of the dialogue. Like, there could be mistakes there that can be very obvious, but don't blame the actor for that. Like, people were making fun of, actually, today on Twitter, like, some of the old 4Kids dubs for One Piece.
Yeah, I know, they're so great. I love those.
They're really wonderful.
Don't drink that. It's full of sugar, even though it's alcohol. They had to, like, make it seem like...
And it's like the actor did a great job performing what was meant to be performed. The line, however, is funny because that's what they were given, and it was written to be that way with the intention of, oh, we can't say alcohol, and that in itself is funny. Therefore, it makes the dub, I guess, quote unquote, bad, but not for the actor's fault.
Hot take, I think I like most of the 4Kids dub voices.
Oh, I do too.
Because it's just like
I watched One Piece growing up in the dub. Like, I loved the rap. And
same. The rap is what got me into it.
But, yeah, me too. Like, well, I had heard the rap when I was already, like, kind of watching, because I had turned on TV and I was already watching anime, and I loved the original One Piece. I haven't watched it in forever, but I only watched about 100 or so episodes, because once it went off, like, the TV, I didn't know I could watch it on the internet, so I was like, oh, I guess I'm done watching that.
Right.
And then I never got back into it.
Oh, dude, it's like, it's so weird, because, like, I mean, like, most of the voices, because, like, again, I love Chris Sabat to death. Like, nothing against Chris Sabat, I think he's great, but like, again, there was this phenomenal video where this guy talked about, like, why does anime series you watch use, like, the same 12 voice actors or something like that? Because, like, there are certain voice actors you recognize, like, oh, it's so-and-so right away, oh, it's them right away, but then, like, you can put together, like, with Chris Sabat, it's like, oh, he's using his Piccolo sounds a lot like that dude from Black Clover, Yami, but it also sounds a lot like Armstrong from Full Metal Alchemist, who also sounds a lot like All Might, who sounds like, so it's just like certain things like that where you just have
voice actors are not being hired to do a different voice. They're being hired to perform a character. Yes. Mm-hmm. So,
the thing with that is, though, you look at and this, again, not a diss to people who, like, specify, like, anime voice actors, stuff like that, but, like, people who do, like, mainstream, quote unquote, mainstream voice acting, like in, like, media, like with either video games or cartoons, like on series, like, they change their voice all the time, and it's just like, oh shit, that was so and so, I barely recognize, what the fuck.
Voice actors can, like, change their voice to do different characters, but if two characters that they play have, like, the same voice, it's still their voice, it's going to be possible that they're going to sound similar in like just the naturalness of their voice, but the character and the way they perform it is what is the most important. They're not being hired because they can change whether or not they sound squeaky or really deep. It's the acting that is the most important. So like making that comparison is understandable, but it's not what is being truly judged. Or it's not what should be judged. Yeah.
Well, again, like that is a double-edged sword in the sense of like I agree with what you're saying, but then like some people like ask like, okay, well, what's your range then for this? And then like it's like, oh, these are the biggest characters, and then all of them sound very similar to each other. Then like I know people look at that certain things. I'm just looking at it from that perspective because I know why is this escaping me? Fuck. It's literally on the tip. I had just had a Teen Titans Go Katy moment. Fuck, I had it. It was right here. It was right there. Run back in here. Whatever. It'll come back like during another question.
I understand. Like, and it can be valid, especially for the listeners, because they would judge it based on like, oh, that sounds like insert my favorite character that you also voice. But at the end of the day, like they're getting jobs because they know how to act, and there are lots of actors out there that make a living, like Steve Bloom. Like his voice is pretty recognizable, but he plays different characters well. He can do different voices, yes, but there's a lot of characters that I'm sure he does that like you can tell that's Steve Bloom, but you still believe that it's those characters, even though the voice might still just be that deep raspy thing that he does, but he's a great actor, and and there's lots of great actors that they might sound similar in like this is what their voice sounds like, but the performance that they give matches the character, and that's what matters.
Yeah. I'm not dissing that. I'm just saying like that's something I notice a lot of, is that because when that thing runs back into my brain, I'll be able to put it better. Like
it's a valid thought, but it's also important, I guess, to look at that perspective when it comes to like the casting decisions that are made.
No, you should see that video. I'll send you the video so you can look at it. Yes. It's really well done video. I'm like, oh, this is why, because of like this.
Yeah, but I think it's time to get to our next question.
Okay.
Because we've spent like 40 minutes on one. But that's fine, because this is our podcast. We can do what we want, listeners. Dang it. But yeah, our next question is, what is the easiest and cheapest way to gain healthy weight? And this comes from someone in our email named Matt. Please send us an email at weirdflexbutokaypodcast if you would like your question answered. Okay. And yeah, I think this would be like a good question for like Jordan to answer, because my only option... Well, I've never been trying to gain weight. I've only ever tried to lose weight. But Jordan knows a lot about, trying to get all muscly and stuff. So educate me, Jordan.
Okay, so they want to gain weight a healthy way. The healthiest way to gain weight is, again, it's just going to be self-explanatory. It's just eat more. Like that is sincerely the biggest thing. Like eat more. Like a lot of people do this thing of like, I noticed this a lot where someone will say like, oh, I'm eating a lot, man. I'm just trying to like put on weight. It's like, well, all right, how much are you eating? Well, I eat a lot, dude. Like, yeah, but exactly how much? It's just like, well, are you logging your food intake? Can you show me your food log for today of like, so I eat like, oh no, I'm just sort of eating. See, like that's your problem. Like you're not logging your food. Like that is a big issue with a lot of people is they think they're eating a lot, but it's just like, okay, whatever. Like you still need to eat more, but not now. Like this is where people get twisted. They mean like, oh, well, that means I can just go eat pizza and burgers and stuff like that. And no, because there's this thing called newbie gains. If you're a beginner, so if you're a teenager, this works for both boys and girls, whatever. If you're a teenager and you first start training, you get newbie gain. What the hell is that? My phone now. See, why are people bothering us while I'm trying to educate people? How dare they? Well, Katy had her moment. I'm just gonna. Shut up, phone. There we go. All right. So, anyways, newbie gains, as I was saying, they help teenagers or beginners build muscle and burn fat at the same time. Now, this is a big deal because later on in life, you cannot do that unless you there are certain things like you can't do it unless your genetics are just on point and your body will let you like build muscle and burn fat at the same time, because the reason for that is because you need a calorie surplus to gain muscle size. You need a calorie deficit to lose fat. That just means you either eat more or you eat less than you need to maintain your weight. So for me, for example, I have to, my maintenance level of calories, like, all right, so, I get to be all scientific. Yeah, awesome.
Yay, science!
Yes. So for everyone has a maintenance level of calories they need in a day, and then they get those various different ways. So like for me, for instance, my maintenance level of calories to maintain my weight just to be what I am right now, which is currently 170 pounds, is 2,700 calories. That's from my activity level, like what I do, all that stuff. My maintenance level of calories is 2,700. If I want to lose weight, then I subtract 300 to 500 calories from that, and then I keep it around that level every day. As long as I'm in a deficit, I will lose like fat, and that's a key thing in helping me lose fat. If I want to gain, I'll add 500 calories. But an easy way to do this is to take your weight in pounds and either add 20 or subtract 20, and then that is going to actually it's you multiply it by 20, and if you're trying to lose, you divide it by 20. Or like you lose the weight you're trying to lose. Hold on one second. I remember.
I've also used like a fitness calculator online before. You can just like
exactly.
Them,
exactly. Yeah. Like, there's a fitness calculator online
when I needed to find out what my specific intake needed to be every day, because then I could calculate, okay, well, how much should I cut out to lose weight healthily? But for this case, you would just add.
Yeah, exactly. You just add. Like, that's the thing. Like, if you're trying to gain pound. Because, like, another thing you have to take into account here is, let me go back to what I was saying about the weight loss thing. All right, so if you're trying to, a couple people who are, I was on Newbie Gains. Yeah, that's where I was at. Good brain. All right, so I was on Newbie Gains, and I was talking about you can't build muscle and burn fat at the same time unless you are a beginner who's got Newbie Gains, unless you are someone who is got great genetics, you are someone who is getting help, you know what I mean? Stab, you know what I mean? And steroids for people. Yeah. And or someone who just wants to do it extremely, extremely slowly, because there are some people who can build like muscle and burn fat at the same time, but it takes an exponentially long time that it's just sort of like, I want to see results. Like if I did something for longer than 6 weeks and I didn't see results, that would kind of be like a boot, and I don't have the type of patience. That's not my virtue. And so what you want to do is you focus on like, all right, so this is how much I have to eat a day to like gain. And so I'm going to eat this amount, keep my protein level at this take. Let me take my carbohydrates at this take, or let me take my fat levels at this take. And then you just like, you consume as much as you can to help grow. Because like the thing a lot of people get twisted is they think like, gaining weight is easier than losing weight. And that's just a fucking lie. I'm going to tell you this is a fucking lie. All right. Gaining bad weight is easy because you just, I'm just going to go eat pizza and donuts every single day. Like, there you go. I'm just going to eat that every single day and not worry about it. Then yeah, that's fine. But if you're trying to gain like actual authentic, like solid quality weight, you got to focus on how much you're sleeping, if you're getting enough calories, if you are, getting enough bed rest. Because like a lot of people have this issue where it's just like I don't have an appetite to eat this much food and like to gain muscle mass or to gain all this stuff, and that's like a big thing for helping you get those goals. Like you have to make sure you are sleeping a lot, because sleeping helps you grow. You got to make sure you're eating a bunch, because like muscles grow from having all those nutrients put into them. You got to make sure you're what was it? Working out properly with the intensity, like working out with that intensity to help yourself like actually reach those results. There's a bunch of stuff going into like becoming a buff muscular person, and so you have to be consistent. Like that is the biggest thing, consistency here. So definitely what I suggest is getting like MyFitnessPal, and like what Katy said, you can either use that or you can use like a site to check out like your maintenance level of calories and find out what you need to bulk and what you need to lose.
Yeah.
And you will put on some fat bulking if you're like someone in their later years, but don't worry about that. Like you can always just shred it out. Like here, honestly, this is a piece of advice that I got that helped me so much, because for years I would mess myself up with this, where I would like try to bulk up and lose fat at the same time, and I wasn't getting it right. But then like in 2014, what I did was I took 5 months and I focused on just getting cut. I focused on getting lean, because getting lean is a faster accomplishment, and I was able to like get lean and aesthetic. And then like what you do is when you get your abs to a level of leanness, you think, okay, like my abs, I'm pretty popping right now, these are pretty dope. Then you start to bulk up and add size to your frame again. And when you add size to a leaner frame, that makes you look a hell of a lot more impressive aesthetically, because like when you're ripped, like this is a little optical illusion, folks. I'm going to give you a little optical illusion as fitness people do. Besides using lighting, what you do is if you're really ripped, you like pump yourself up with some weights, and then you take a picture, and then maybe like make while you're all sweaty and stuff like that. And if you're like ripped and you're like all sweaty, you look more muscular. Like it's a little optical illusion. Like you can look like a average guy in a basic t-shirt, but if you take it off and like do some like push-ups and curls and stuff like that, and then like, you know, looking for the mirror, you look so freaking aesthetic. Like you look like a freaking action hero, superhero, and it's just a nice little illusion. So if you put on 5 pounds onto a lean frame, is going to look far more impressive than just like bulking up if you don't have the cut. So my advice is always get lean and aesthetic first, then add the size to your frame by doing everything else I said. That'll make you look better.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I think you did a good job at answering that.
Oh, thanks. I hate my voice, but that was pretty good.
I love your voice, and I love the things you have to say, which actually brings us to our next question.
Okay.
For you, Jordan.
Our next question is, hey, Jax, you used to be, you said before you used to be really positive about everything. Oh, yeah, right. But said you became cold and mentally tough. I want to be mentally tougher because I cry and complain over a lot of admittedly petty things, and was curious about what was the steps you took to be tough. That comes from Kefla Lover. Okay. I can answer this.
Yeah. Start us off in this, Jordan, and then I can throw in some Katy pinions as well.
Katy pinions. All right, cool.
Katy pinions.
All right, so I did used to be very, very optimistic about every single thing, like positively and stuff like that. And that's like not bad to have, but it was like optimistic to a point of naivete, like, oh yeah, everything's going to be great and stuff like that. But then life hits you. And when life hits you, it's just like you can let it crush you, or you can just be like, all right, I'm going to get up and take it. Because, like, you know, that Rocky speech said it best. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's not about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward, how much you can take and keep moving forward. And that is just something that really helped me a lot. Because there was a bunch of stuff in my life that I would, like, complain about. I would act like, you know, like a whiny little kid over stupid stuff. I would be like, oh, well, this isn't going my way, this is their fault. I wouldn't take self-responsibility. So like it was like a moment of like, I mentioned this before, like a friend, like, you know, give me the deck, which Katy got all traumatized over, but like, no, it helped me. And we're still good friends today, but it like really was something I had to look at and go like, I don't like what I'm becoming. I make all these excuses for stuff I don't do. I like complain about stuff I can't change or do change or can change, and stuff I can't change. And like, I just make myself look weak. And then like one of the, a quote that my old coach said that really, and a friend of mine also said as well, like you can see him on YouTube too, Brandon, was every time you complain publicly, you put your weakness out on display for everyone to see. Now, what Katy mentioned before was great. And I mentioned before was great. Like, if you put out something like, hey, I'm going through a rough time and stuff like that, it shows that you're only human, and that's great, and like, that's good. But if you do it all the time, like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening today. Oh my God, this happened to me today. I can't believe this. And that is giving ammunition to people, because like, there are a bunch of people who follow you. Not all those people are people you can trust and like you. Some of those people, well, like
it's
saw
okay
this.
to be vulnerable, but, finding that balance is important.
Yeah, like for instance, I saw something recently happen from someone. They would post these, like, you know, what I was just talking about, like quotes and all this stuff, and then like a few months went by, then mentioned it into a thing, but then they got into a little debate with someone, and then they brought up like, oh, well, you complain about this, and they had that as ammunition, and it hurt them a lot, because it was just like, okay, yeah, you put your thing out there, which was harmful to you, and now this person used that harm against you, and now like it made you feel like crap for like a couple days and shit like that. And so it's just stuff I always keep in mind to do that. And like what I do to like be mentally tough is like I meditate. I recognize that like, you know, in all, like what's the worst that can happen in that situation. I realize like I have to like if there's ever a situation where everyone is like losing their shit, I don't want to be the person losing shit, because like that just makes shit so much worse. When like, all right, it's like, let's say something happens and then someone's going like, well, what the fuck, why would you do that, why is this happening, why are you doing that, blah blah blah, and then like one person is freaking out when someone else is trying to like stay calm and keep the situation logical. It's just like, all right, no, calm down, let's look at this logically and focus, like, what is happening here, this is going in the situation. So that's what helped me a lot, was just like finding that mental clarity of just, I have to do this for myself. And also I felt a lot of character grow from like training myself. It's just like, no, I'm going to be this better person. I want to be this like badass of my story. Like I'm going to be able to, like, if something hits a fan, I can be like, you know, someone people rely on. I don't want to be someone who always needs someone to come save me, or someone to like feel weak. Cause I know like there's this thing where, what was it? I saw this thing a while ago about God, it's escaping me, but there's something I saw importantly, like, of why you shouldn't let yourself intentionally be weak. Like, if you have the ability to change yourself, like, you don't know what's gonna happen in your life or something like that. Because, like, you know, for instance, there are people who say, oh, I never do any of those classes or anything like that, or this, because you know, I just wouldn't put myself in the situation. And it's just like, well, sometimes that situation finds you whether you like it or not. And it's just like, oh no, well, that wouldn't happen because this. But then it's just like, look, I'm not putting you down, but there are people out there who legitimately don't care about any of this, and they don't care about like what set of rules you set up for yourself. Like, that's not going to stop them from like attacking you on the street or breaking into your house at night to try and attack you and do all this stuff. So like, I keep that in my mind all the time. Like, the world is not a nice place. It's okay to be positive. Like, for instance, I talk to Katy all the time. Like, Katy makes me positive. Like, whenever Katy talks to me, I'm just like, oh, like I'm smiling. That's a good thing for her. Or when I talk to my friends or my family, it's like, I have stuff I love, and I have stuff I want to like protect, and stuff I want to like be around for a long time. So it's like, okay, I can appreciate joy. So I don't let myself become one of these people who's just like, fuck the world, everything like that.
Yeah, I think a lot of what you're saying, like, there's a lot of truth and validity to like feeling that way and looking at the world that way. But one thing to also understand, I guess, with that perspective in mind, is like, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's just about, you know, choosing when you allow yourself to be vulnerable, I guess. And sometimes you don't have control over a lot of situations. Sometimes there will be things out of your control as much as you want to control them, but you just have to know that you are stronger because of what you've gone through before, or that you have systems in place that will get you through it, even if it feels like it's impossible. And one thing that kind of helps me especially, and has helped me be tough, is like looking at the world. Yes, it's not like a super pretty place all the time. But objectively and logically, hope is correct. There is shittiness in the world, but there is goodness as well. Like, there will always be times where things will be bad and they will be inevitable. But kind of like ominous positivity, there will also be times that are good, and you are loved and you will be understood, and if you allow yourself to experience, like, because it can be easy to say, well, I don't want to put myself in a situation where I could be vulnerable, so I won't tell anyone my vulnerabilities or fears or any of this. But then you miss the chance to become close to people. And sometimes you might get rejected, or sometimes it's hard to tell when to open up or when to allow yourself to feel those things. But those are conversations that you need to allow yourself to have instead of avoiding them. Because
Oh, okay. Can I just like piggyback what you're saying? I agree with what Katy's saying. Exactly what Katy's saying. You have people you care about that you vent to. Like, I can vent to like Katy about like anything, or I can vent to like friends about anything. People who are close to me that I love, I can vent to, and I feel safe venting to them, and it's a very therapeutic thing. But putting it out there for the entire world, that's where I like have the like thing where I'm like, okay, no, it's
definitely a
keep
balance
that to
you
yourself.
Have to pick, because there's some things, well, for example, out there, like on Twitter, there have been times where people have been vulnerable on Twitter and said things that probably they would only say to close people if they were, I guess, quote unquote, smart or being logical or whatever. But it has helped me when I've seen people put their vulnerabilities out there to say, hey, you're not alone. Other people experience this. Like, for example, I've been to therapy before.
Same here. There's nothing wrong with therapy, folks. It's
there's
awesome.
Nothing
Go
wrong
do
with
it.
therapy. There might be some people that say, oh, you've been to therapy, so you must be crazy, or you must be this or that, and they would try to use that against you. Yeah, maybe. Like, maybe there are times in our life where we're like, quote unquote, feeling like it's crazy, but in reality, for me, it's normal to have, yes, you're super wild, Jordan. He like runs around naked and eats pina coladas out of a can.
Yeah, you're right. I do. Except I'm allergic to fruit, so why would I eat pina coladas?
But yeah, but it's okay. Like, if you want to put certain things out there into the world, like, that's okay. It just, you have to understand the balance and don't put out more than you're willing to lose. And sometimes when it comes to building a relationship or a close friendship with somebody, sometimes it's good to be cautious and not put out more than you're willing to lose. But sometimes after you keep putting it out there, you're going to have to take a risk sometimes. Not everything will just be this simple situation where it's easy to see what the correct path is. And just because you didn't do a certain thing or because you did do a certain thing doesn't mean the outcome will necessarily be better, but it will be different. And sometimes you have to look at a situation and say, like, something needs to change here. I have a fear that if I do something here that things will change and it'll be scary. But if you didn't say or do anything when this problem was arising, maybe it would be, maybe the outcome wouldn't have happened, but it might not necessarily be better. Sometimes you just have to know that I need something to change, and it's scary because I don't have control over whether it will be what I want to happen or whether it'll be what I want to happen. But if you don't do anything, that won't guarantee that it'll just go away. And toughness, I think, can really come from understanding that you don't have a lot of control over a lot of stuff, but you do have control over yourself and the habits that you form and the people that you let into your life. And as long as you have those honest conversations with yourself about what your morals and values are, what your negotiables and non-negotiables are in terms of what you want to be in your life, and then if you let the people that are close to you understand that, and even if you only have a few close people that you feel like you can truly tell that to, and then the rest of the people in your life are people that you feel comfortable with but maybe don't want to share with, that's okay. It's about building those levels and understanding that when a situation comes that might be scary or different or new, you have to just understand that it might look scary on the outside, but sometimes you won't know until you're going through it and you just discover that it will be okay. And it's not illogical to think I can do this, I can get through this. There's certain extremes and situations where it's like, yeah, maybe don't put yourself in certain types of situations if it's too much for you. But there's some of life's, one thing life likes to do is throw curveballs at you. And it's okay to be scared. But if you can tell yourself, I'm going to walk through this fire, even though it's scary, but it's something that I have to do, and you can have that conviction, that is when you start being tough. And there's no rule that says because you're not quote unquote tough today, you won't be tough tomorrow. Stuff like confidence or toughness or the ability to do something scary can come
from
in
getting
a moment.
1% better each day.
Yeah. 1% better each day. And sometimes there might be a moment where it's like, I am afraid of this, but fuck it. I'm gonna try. And even if I don't succeed, I'm not afraid of failure because I know that I'll learn from this. And if you can get to that place, like, that confidence will just come. Like, it's not necessarily faking it till you make it. It's allowing yourself to just do what feels like what needs to be done. I feel like I'm kind of talking in circles there, but
no, it's true. Because like, what you would do, because she said, I cry and complain a lot too, admittedly, over petty things. So what you're going to do is just like, look at yourself in the mirror and go like, all right, why are you crying over this thing right here? Like, okay, because I'm not saying because there's this big misconception that like crying is a bad thing, and I don't think crying is a bad thing. Like, shit, I cry all the time in my the privacy of my room though. Like, I want to make that perfectly clear though. I cry in the privacy of my own room. I don't like make videos of like, so this is what happened to me, and this is why that, because like, again, like I said, you're like, while you're making yourself vulnerable and you'll have people caring for you, there'll be people who will take that, and if that was like a big thing to you, they're gonna use that against you, and like you maybe like, like that whole Michael Jordan crying meme thing, like, do that shit to you. I've seen it happen many times on Twitter. So I'm saying like, that's just stuff to like keep in mind, like all right, this is a horrible thing I'm going through, and like if you feel like you complain a lot over stuff, it's just like, no, I'm not gonna be a complainer, because like people who complain, I like, that is the fastest way to lose my respect. It's just people who complain over like ridiculous, like petty stuff, because it's just like, if you're complaining about it, like but you're not getting stuff done, then that's like another thing. But if you're complaining about like, oh yeah, I had to pay this and that and this, and it's like, oh, that's rough, buddy. But if you just known as a perpetual like complain about this, complain about that, then that's where I just
it's okay to feel negative, and it's okay, like, and very realistic and rational, and
be
fine
negative.
to have negativity in your life. Don't think like, oh, I can never be negative, or people won't like me, or I can never express my negativity, because that's an extreme that would be too dangerous for anyone. Mm-hmm. And that's why some people can snap, because they don't feel like they have a place where they can be that person. And that's why therapy can be important, because it can give you an environment where you can be like, this is what I'm feeling. But it's important to realize you're not a burden for having negative thoughts or feelings about situations. Mm-hmm. And expressing that is not wrong, especially to the people close to you, because they would want to help you.
Yes,
but
exactly.
Tell us. What you should do is, allow yourself to say, okay, let's take a look at the situation and see what I can do to make it better. What can I do today? 1 step at a time, 2 steps at a time, a year, however long it would take you. What are some steps that I can start on that can help this problem? Because if you're just saying consistently, I have these issues, and you repeat, I have these issues, without trying to find a solution, that is when it can go into some dangerous territory. But just having negative thoughts, complaining about stuff that sucks, that's normal. Everybody does that. Everyone does that sucks. Yeah.
Yeah, I do that too. I'm just like, this is some bullshit, bro. Like, it's just like, I do that all the time. Like, this is some bullshit to myself. But I don't like complain publicly. Like, sometimes I'll just be like, yeah, this happened to me earlier. It's shitty.
Yeah, but if you did, like, talking with your friends and loved ones about stuff that sucks is fine. But if you don't try to also find a solution, if you're just saying this thing is shitty, like, if you do that a few times, it's like, yeah, this thing is shitty and I don't really know what to do right now. That's understandable. But over a certain period of time, if you're just going to let yourself sit in that, that's when it can be like, I might need to see somebody.
Yeah, don't let it fester.
Yeah, don't let it become to where you're not trying to get yourself out of it. You just want to live in that. Mm-hmm. Because that's when things can take a sharp, not fun turn. It's important to acknowledge, yes, I have these feelings. They are normal and valid, and I am not a burden for having them or wanting to express them to the people that I love. But you have to try to find some kind of positive resolution or closure or whatever you can do. And sometimes if you can't get that closure or whatever it is that you need to find a way to say, hey, this thing happened. It sucks. I might not have a way to make it 100% better, but I understand that it has happened, and I'm going to try my best to move on from it. And sometimes you need professional help to do that, or sometimes it just takes a little bit of talking through to see the logical way out of it. But that can be life sometimes. Control and anxiety go hand in hand, and it can be so easy to think, oh, I don't have control over this, so there's no way I can fix it. But you can control yourself. It just can sometimes take a little while to see the power that you really have.
And drink lots of water
over yourself.
Water solves like a lot of the problems. Like, you like have a headache, drink more water. You like your skin looks bad, drink more water. Like, you need to like feel more energized, drink more water.
Physical
you
activity
deal with a problem,
can
like
definitely
drown someone.
help.
Yeah, so you just,
because like all of the negative stuff that goes on in your head, like, yes, there's like probable cause and like stuff in the world happening that can cause it, but also just they're chemicals. Like,
yeah, there are chemicals.
Allowing yourself to be physically active can really help in that too. It won't solve scientifically. It won't solve all of your issues, obviously, but it is a step that can help you towards having a clearer mind and finding mental health solutions as well, like talking it out or seeing someone professionally. We've been all over the place.
Think of like your like top 10 favorite things, and then think of because like what I do is like some people say like I'm cold, but like I'm not really cold. I'm cold to topics I don't care for. So what I do is like because I was talking to Katy about this, but like I think of like the top 10 things in the world that make me happy, that I care about and protect. It's just like, okay, I love working out. I love helping people. I love my YouTube channel. I love my family. I love my friends. I love my dog. I love delicious food. I love anime titties. I love regular titties. I love booty. I love puns. I love like all these things, and those make me happy. Those put a big smile on. I love animation in general. So like, I think of all of those things, and those make me happy. But everything else is just like, all right, you're either you're either trying to help me like get through what I want to do, or you're in my way. So get the fuck out the way and like let me focus on me. Like, that's what I did. I focus on building to what I want to accomplish, and anything that's in my way is just like, well, fuck off. But you'll be great, couple lover. If you have any issues, send us another question. I hope we did it without going too much.
Yeah, I hope we sort of answered it. But yeah, let's actually get to our next question. This is going to be a longer episode, but that is okay. Bless you.
Sorry.
All right. So this next one is for me. It is, what is our favorite element?
Earth.
And that comes from Shokazulu.
Chakazulu.
Shakazulu.
I like Earth. Earth
yeah,
is the
I like
best
water.
one.
Although I've heard water's pretty OP, but you know.
Earth is OP too, because there's a whole planet of Earth, and there's water too.
That's true.
But like,
yeah,
it's just like
true.
water's OP if you can blood bend, but like Earth is just like everything around it. Like it's just like a strong.
I mean, the
force.
human body is also just 70% water as well.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. But can you
Dude.
blend that? Bend that, or is it no, you have to like do all this other stuff? Because I mean, technically, if they want, are we talking about Avatar? Just
yeah, we're talking about
again?
Avatar, but just in general elements as well.
I like Earth.
Water's still my favorite. Like, whenever I'm near like a body of water, like a calm stream or something like that, and like it's all grassy and stuff, I think that's really peaceful, and I like drinking water. Whenever I drink a bunch of water, I feel
like
good.
fire.
Like, yeah.
To set people on fire, like my neighbors. I like to like burn them and then watch their corpses burn in the fire and smile while they laugh and like, oh God, get me out. And I'm just like,
So yeah, welcome to the Jordan is Crazy and Somebody Help Me podcast.
Yes. Katy, if anyone ever touched you, I would.
I will set them ablaze.
Lightning's
yeah,
cool. What does lightning count? Does electricity really count as fire?
I know. I was wondering, like, is it just for elements, or what about plasma? Is plasma?
Isn't plasma fire?
And I think that's thunder and lightning and stuff. I think. I don't know.
Well, I mean, like, if you go Avatar rules, lightning is just advanced fire bending.
That's true.
But it's just like, I mean, does it count as fire instead of like electricity? Because I feel, but then that goes into the territory of like metal. Like, because I remember it was like, oh, there's iron and then there's wood. Like, what is wood? What's wood bending?
Is that earth? That's earth, I mean.
But they can't bend wood in the Avatar show.
Interesting. Well, who can bend the wood?
They can bend like the trees. They can bend like the mud around the wood to make it into something, but they can't bend the wood.
Yeah, I remember that because Toph was thrown into the wooden jail, but like I wonder what the reasoning was.
Yeah, why? Why can't they bend wood? Like what is it about wood?
Good question.
Is wood earth?
Wood is earth because it comes from the earth.
Well, I mean, water comes from the earth.
Oh God. So does air.
So like, if you like are in space, does that mean like it's still Earth?
No, because nomenclature.
So like, if I was on Mars, would it be like Mars bending?
I guess. I mean, we'd have to go into the science of the elements there and whatever. I don't know. So Avatar: The Last Airbender isn't 100% scientifically accurate, but like, it's not meant to be. You know.
But what if it's? I mean, like, if Toph went to Mars, could she bend there?
You know, these are questions for the creator.
I'm just like, what is Earth called, though?
Similar elements, like Earth. I mean, it's just Earth, I guess. I mean,
no, but what is it called, though? Like, what is it like? You know, like water is water, fire is fire, like air is air. But like, what is Earth? Like, does it have to be like genuine to the planet?
I believe so, but again,
you know, I'm gonna make a tweet about this.
Yeah, like this. Why can't they bend wood? Maybe they've answered that in a Q&A before. But yeah, favorite element, even with Avatar: The Last Airbender rules, it's definitely water. But even if those weren't the rules we're applying, I just always liked the watery aesthetic too. Like when you look at like fairy or fantasy creatures and stuff like that have like the elements attached, like the water ones are always really interesting. Although I do like the earth, like fairies and stuff, when they're all like surrounded by greenery and flowers and stuff.
Yeah. Can they bend grass? What's grass?
I guess it's part of the earth.
But I mean, is there like a thing called grass bending?
Grass bending? I don't know. I don't think so. But there were people that could bend they could bend like the plants and the vines, like the swamp people in Avatar. They bended
the mud in the vine and the like stuff.
And the vines. So the vines are the greenery. So that's probably the
same. No, but the vines were bending because they had mud on them.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. They wasn't like they weren't bending the vines. They were bending the mud that was in the vines, making them move.
That's interesting. Yeah, these are questions that I don't know the answer to, but I am very curious about. But water's really great.
Is water called something else on another planet?
I mean, we're the ones that name stuff, so we can name it water if we want.
How did we come up with names? Like, how did we just decide that this is, like, water? Like, why did we decide to call it that?
Because we did. Why do we do anything that we do? Because we fucking felt like it.
But
artists
how do we know?
Is real, Jordan.
But when did we start, like, naming stuff to where we go, like, oh, this is paper. Why is it called paper? That's a tree.
This question has gotten out of hand.
You know what? Remember in Land Before Time when they were like, oh, they're eating tree stars. How do they know what a tree is? And how do they know what a star is?
Because the humans are the one that wrote the script and voiced it.
But how does the human know what a star is?
Because science.
But what does science say?
Because we named them.
Are all, like, things named from, like, acronyms or something?
I have no idea.
So, I mean, like, technically... Oh, fuck. That is crazy. So, like, how do we, like, name
we
stuff?
We need a
like,
scientist on our podcast to answer these questions.
But, like, when did they decide, oh, we're going to call this? Like, why is it called a phone? Why is it called the phone? Like, what makes it called, like, a phone? Why is it called that?
Welcome to Existentialism, the podcast.
Katy, I'm asking you a question.
I'm your co-host. I don't know the answer.
But why, though? Like, how did we find out that a chip made of sand could make a laptop? Like, how does that work? Like, seriously, you know what? I'm, like, really wondering now, like, how did they find out that, like, sound waves could, like, we could talk to each other, like, millions of miles away from each other right now? So it's just, like...
I don't know. I'm going to have to make a recording of myself just saying, I don't know, so every time you ask a question, I can play it, because that's what I'm doing right now.
What?
And that's okay to say, I don't know. Because if I don't fucking know, bitch, that's why we have the internet.
But why, though?
Because Google.
But when did they find numbers? Like, how did they figure out that, like, 1 was 1? Like, why did they say, like, oh, it's 1, we won this, and it's just like, how do you know what 1 means? And then it was like, oh, I just sounds nice. Let's call this one 2. Why are we calling it a 2 or 3?
And
like,
before this rant gets any more existential, I think we need to go to our next question, Jordan.
Why is this? I'm kind of stuck on this now because I'm curious. What happened?
When we're done with the episode, Google it, and we can tell our listeners what you find.
Okay, whatever.
Because I have no
next
clue.
Question. This comes from... But why is it... Okay, next question comes from Devonte, and they ask, any series you loved before it was popular? And I have so many of these because I'm a fucking hipster.
We might have witnessed the beginning of Jordan becoming a scientist, because these are the questions that scientists ask and answer on a daily basis. And the answers are
why
out there
did they
for
come
you,
up with
Jordan.
the letter A? Though,
why don't you
like,
find
why is
out
it the letter
the
A?
internet?
When did they decide? A. This is the letter.
No more questions, Jordan. Only our questions.
Okay, well, I just asked it. You didn't answer me.
Well, what are some series that you like?
I asked you.
And then you started asking more questions
because you brought it up.
I was just saying that we might have witnessed the beginning of you being a scientist, but I'm scared because I don't know the answers to your questions, Jordan, and you're going to have to find them on your own.
No, you have to help me. Yep. All right. You know what? A series, I loved this before anyone else, and I kept saying for years it would be popular, was One Punch Man, because I was a fan of that when it looked like it was drawn on a napkin, and I was like, yeah, this is going to be the biggest thing. This needs to get an anime. Everyone's going to love it. And everyone was just like, no, that looks kind of stupid because it's going to be like one thing. But hey, Kevin, guess what? This is now a worldwide phenomenon, so fuck you. All right?
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Honestly, with The Promised Neverland, like I'm reading that right now, I don't know if it's like, quote unquote, popular yet, but I feel like it's going to be. Like, I'm putting my sheep in that basket right now. Oh, Sword Art Online. When Sword Art Online came out, I liked it.
Was that
and
a
I was
manga
like,
first?
I
or was
don't
it
know.
a graphic novel?
I'm talking about the sub, like the first so I don't know if I saw it like from the beginning per se, but like the anime, the first episode that was ever released like online with like a sub before dubbing was even in the question, I was watching it. Like I was watching it weekly when it was being subbed, and I was like, this is gonna be huge, and it did. It became like really big, and I think that's one of the only ones that I can say like that I knew this was gonna be like big, because like I watched a lot of anime, but it was already popular, I guess, when I was watching and reading it and stuff. Like, yeah. I mean, The Promised Neverland, I'm putting my eggs in that basket. I think it's going to be huge. But
like Attack on Titan people, when they were like, this manga, this is going to be the greatest manga. And I was just like, oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not one of those people. I like saw Attack on Titan afterwards, but yeah. Another one, Donbaru no Kiramatera. I'm calling it right now. That is one of my favorite mangas. And when it gets to anime in July, there's going to be a bunch of like reaction memes and stuff like that. What's the date right now? We're recording this 2/25/2019, so you'll see it sometime later this week. And excuse me, sorry. Yeah, you can that's gonna be massively popular. I bet that. I bet money on that. Especially when it gets a dub, because like it is so interesting. Like you get mainstream success. Like you notice if something grows, because it's like all right, first One Punch Man was great. And then it was like on TV and it was like, okay, yeah, that's pretty good. But then like it got moved to America for Toonami, and then that like blew it up mainstream status. And then there was it's on Netflix now, so you can rewatch the entire series. So yeah, that like added to it. So yeah, once Toonami gets it, you're in the bank.
Oh yeah. Like man,
like
I can't
Hero
think
Academia.
Because like I loved Naruto and Bleach and stuff growing up, but those were like mainstream. And like Full Metal Alchemist, like all the series that like I loved were series that I could share with people. Like I didn't have a lot of obscure taste that blew up. Like I had some obscure things I liked, but I don't think that they blew up per se. Because like High School DxD, for example, never got an anime, and I really wanted it to blow up, but it didn't. And yeah, so I guess my answer is kind of boring for this one.
Well, let me ask you something. Like, how do you feel about like shows that are like mainstream, like popular now? Like a show you like becomes like mainstream popular, so when you say it, it's just like, that's so mainstream, dude. Like, what do you think about that? Let's just like,
I guess like I grew up living like with that feeling, I guess, because I loved Naruto, and like everybody knew what Naruto was, so it felt disingenuous, I guess, for some people to hear like, oh, Naruto's your favorite, you must not be like a real anime fan. But it's like,
well, I mean, does it like affect you in the way of like, or if someone's like, because I know like it gets sort of annoying where if people like act like, oh yeah, this is so mainstream. I'm like, well, it's mainstream because it's fucking good. That's what it is. It's like it's good enough to be like known to like tons of people for its quality. So yeah, I would say like it's pretty good. And like some people are like, oh, this show's overrated, you're just being this way.
People that say like because something is popular it must be bad, I don't think that's an objectively good argument. There can be things that are really popular that aren't very good, but that doesn't apply to all things that are popular. Sometimes like, dude, pop songs that become popular, yeah, there might be some sucky ones in there, but also there's just something about them that people like, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, on some levels, it's like, it's okay that you find this jam to be really awesome, even though it's not necessarily very different from the last one. That's fine. And like, a lot of things, especially in the anime world, that become popular, like Attack on Titan, for example, there are probably people out there that are just like, oh, it's super overrated. And I personally haven't really watched much of it because I did find it a little boring for me, but there are people that love it.
Well, you also don't like horror, right?
Yeah, I'm not like the biggest fan, although I watched The Promised Neverland, so so I have my exceptions. Show? I would definitely classify it as a horror.
Well, what's it about?
I can't. I don't want to say it because it's a spoiler, because it starts out, the spoiler is the horror element. And spoiling what the horror element is kind of ruins that first like experience for you. It reveals by the end of the first episode what is the horror element of the show, but from there it's very like, it's horror / like mystery-ish, like, or not mystery, but like what's strategy, like Death Note, like trying to stay one step ahead of like this or you're gonna die, like stuff like that. Like it becomes a lot of that, and it's very good, but it's very scary. Like, just I can't say too much because it's something you have to like experience. But yeah, I like certain horror things, but I don't like pursue them a lot. They have to be something that stick out and are okay with me. Because, like, for example, Sweeney Todd is one of my favorite musicals of all time, but it's about a barber that slits people's throats and then cooks them up. But I love that musical, so it just, like, it depends. There's something that you can take away positively from all types of media, from, like, westerns to horror to fantasy. And, like, yeah. But stuff that's popular doesn't mean that it's bad, but sometimes it can. There are a lot of things that I've, maybe not anime, but that I grew up with, that, and some of them I knew would be popular and it became popular. But like, for example, in the abridged world, Octopimp, like, the minute I found his channel, he wasn't like really big or anything. But I knew, like, when I saw his 50% off abridged series, like, it was in its early stages. I was like, oh yeah, this guy is gonna be like fucking big, and he is now. And I was like, oh, that's so cool, like, that I found like this thing, and he got really popular and stuff, and like, and now he's doing a lot of really cool stuff. And I think actually with ProZD too, I had seen his vines like early on, and I was like, oh yeah, this guy, he's gonna be something. And like, I had even auditioned for a game that he actually booked a part in, and I was like, oh hey, it's that guy. Like, and I didn't book the game, sadly, but he did. And that's when I was like, oh, he's a voice actor too. Yeah, he's gonna do some shit. And now he's doing shit, and I'm like, oh man, I saw like him back in the day when he was like not, I guess, super popular, and he was like kind of coming up on Vine. Yeah, so I've seen stuff like that happen.
Right.
But yeah, with anime, I liked a lot of the mainstream stuff, and that's okay.
Yeah, okay, cool. That's good to know.
But yeah, speaking of ProZD and speaking of anime, this last question that I wanted to do was not one that was submitted, but it was something that happened at Comic-Con that I wanted to try out with Jordan.
Okay.
So, essentially, Sungwon ProZD, he does a thing. He did a video once on it, and at the con he actually did a live thing of this. It's called like Rate Your Waifus. So essentially what we're gonna do is, like, I'll say one of my husbandos and I'll give a quick description of them, and Jordan will tell me what if it's like a 2 out of 5 or if it's like a 5 out of 5, like, just based on what I tell him. And it was really funny the way Sungwon did it, and I just wanted to do it with Jordan.
Okay.
And so yeah, Jordan, why don't you tell me one of your waifus, and I will give you an example of how it works.
She has a snake tail.
What's your name?
Mia.
Okay, Mia. She has a snake tail, and tell me something about her personality.
She's very passionate. Very, very passionate about what she loves.
Okay. How old is she?
27.
27. Okay, she's of age. Good. She's 27. She has a snake tail, so I'm not really into that, so I don't think I can give her a perfect score. She's very passionate, and that's really good, but overall, I'm not hearing any super defining traits. I'll give her a 3.2 out of 5.
You bastard. Okay.
All right. So, okay, Ryoga from Ranma 1/2. This will be mine. He is super cute. He is, I think he's like 20 something. So that's pretty good. Oh wait, he's probably like 18 or 19, cause yeah, I think that's how old he is. And let's see, he gets lost very easily. He's very ditzy, but he cares a lot. He has a lot of love in his heart, and he can be a bit of a tsundere boy at times, but he's also really sneaky.
Okay.
But he's not the brightest, but he's super cute and lovable.
Is he buff?
Yeah, he's very strong. Like, he carries around this umbrella that that like weighs tons of pounds, and when he sets it down, nobody can lift it up, but he lifts it up with like one hand. And he doesn't have like the physique of like a giant muscly dude. He looks average, but he is very strong. Like he can do this one move where like he points and like touches, he like will point and poke a rock and it will explode.
Okay. And does he have abs?
Yes, he does.
Okay. All right. Well, he has abs, and he's very strong, so I will give him, 5 out of 5, because I do like strong. There you go.
Ryoka's a 5 out of 5. Yes, I knew it. Okay, give me one. Give me another one of your waifus.
Chile.
Okay, Chile. How old is she?
She is, I want to say, in her 20s or 30s or something.
Okay. Tell me about her personality. You gotta sell it. You gotta sell her to me.
She's very she's caring but snarky.
Okay.
And she has a gun that's pretty badass, and she has awesome armor, and she's green.
Yeah. Ooh, and she does have that short bowl cut too.
Yeah, and the bowl cut, the pixie cut.
Yeah, very, very confident, snarky, lovable. You know, I'm gonna give her a 4.5 out of 5.
Okay.
Because I wish she was taller. I wish she was taller. I'm into that. But
okay.
But yeah, 4.5 out of 5.
Mm-hmm. 4.5. Okay,
right.
Good.
Okay. I'm going to give you one of my old husbandos that I was obsessed with. Deidara from Naruto.
Oh, this boy.
So, Deidara has a very explosive personality. He is an artist, but he gets pretty petty and jealous easily. But he's very cute. He has mouths on his hands, which make a lot of things interesting. Mm-hmm. And he has long, blonde, flowy hair, a very nice jawline. Very strong. Very strong. He definitely has abs and some good arms.
He doesn't have abs.
Yeah, he does.
No, he doesn't.
I've seen pictures of him with abs.
Yeah, that's fan art. Yeah.
Don't take this away from me. He has abs.
No one in Naruto has abs like that.
That's some bullshit.
No, I know.
You know it.
I know. I do know.
But yeah, that's Deidara. Tell me what my husband
1 out of 5 because he doesn't have abs
no!
and he looks like a girl. He looks like a girl.
He's
he doesn't
beautiful.
Have abs. Yeah, and he has like fingernail paint on, and he looks like a girl. And
He's
he like is
beautiful.
Like so petty that he had to kill himself because he was upset he was getting his ass booked.
Okay,
so, yeah.
You make solid points.
Yeah.
And I hate you for that.
Exactly. So forget him.
All right.
Pretty boy. Tell
me one more of your waifus, and then I think we can end this segment. I just wanted to try it because it was fun.
Urza Scarlet.
Urza Scarlet, all right.
She's strong, she's powerful, she's 19. She stopped a meteorite with her fists. She's very strong-minded, strong and loyal, and has the power to like beat up most anyone in their universe.
Jordan, I'm gonna stop you right there. Mm-hmm. She is a 5 out of 5.
That's right.
You had me at Urza, but I wanted to hear you defend her.
Urza is amazing.
She's so good.
Anyone has a problem with Urza, then step to me.
We will fight you. But yeah, I actually think that is a good place to end today's episode.
Awesome.
Yay! So Jordan, can you tell them where they can find you, any projects you're working on right now, convention appearances, etc.?
No, all I'm doing these next couple of weeks is just working on YouTube stuff and tax stuff, so doing a lot of tax stuff, that's what it is. You can find me on Instagram, JaxBlade, YouTube, JaxBlade, Twitter, JaxBlade Fitness, all these other places, JaxBlade, you'll find me there. How about you?
Sweet. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at KaniDay Official, KaniDay Official, and you can find me on Facebook at KaniDay Cosplay. You can also find me on YouTube at KaniDay, and I should be uploading something this week that will be pretty nice. I've been working on it for a minute.
Oh, cool.
Just because some editing issues were happening. But yeah, you can also find me on Kruby Productions YouTube channel, where I'm the voice actress for them, for Weiss and Cinder and Penny and Velvet. You can also find me on the Dr. Crafty Show, where I am a writer and I play Pepper, and we just had a new season come out. You can watch that. You can also find me and Jordan here on the Weird Flex But Okay podcast at gmail.com, where you can send us an email and you can listen to us on YouTube and SoundCloud. And yeah. That's the stuff.
That was awesome. Whoa!
And definitely go follow Jordan on Twitter so you can help him answer all of his existential questions that he was having during the podcast.
Exactly, because I still have to wonder why do boobs look so attractive? Why did they make butts? Why do we have to poop?
Oh no.
What are these questions? Why?
More questions. We'll never know. Quick, somebody Google all of the answers to these questions and just tweet them at Jordan.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to us. Have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Bye.